Joseph Stiglitz, a Nobel Prize-winning economist, delves into the intricate relationship between politics, economics, and societal well-being in People, Power, and Profits, Progressive Capitalism for an Age of Discontent. The book addresses the pressing economic challenges of the 21st century, focusing on inequality, corporate power, and the decline of democratic institutions. Stiglitz offers a critique of contemporary capitalism and proposes a new framework he terms progressive capitalism. The crisis of capitalism. Stiglitz begins by diagnosing the current state of capitalism. He argues that the system, as it operates today, is failing large swaths of the population. While capitalism has historically driven innovation and economic growth, it has also led to significant inequalities and environmental degradation. In particular, Stiglitz criticizes the U.S. economic model, which he sees as being dominated by corporate interests that distort markets and erode democratic processes. The 2008 financial crisis is a pivotal event in Stiglitz's analysis. He views it as a symptom of deeper systemic issues, including deregulation, short-termism, and excessive risk-taking. The crisis exposed how markets, left to their own devices, could wreak havoc on economies and societies. Stiglitz contends that the subsequent recovery primarily benefited the wealthy, exacerbating income and wealth disparities. 2. The role of government. Central to Stiglitz's argument is the role of government in creating a fairer and more prosperous society. He challenges the notion that markets are inherently efficient and self-correcting. Instead, he posits that markets require robust government oversight to function effectively. According to Stiglitz, government intervention is crucial for addressing market failures, such as monopolies, externalities, and information asymmetries. Stiglitz also emphasizes the importance of public goods, such as education, healthcare, and infrastructure, that the private sector is often unwilling or unable to provide efficiently. He advocates for increased government spending in these areas, arguing that such investments are essential for long-term economic growth and societal well-being. 3. The problem of inequality. A significant portion of the book is devoted to discussing inequality. Stiglitz highlights how economic disparities have widened in recent decades, particularly in the United States. He attributes this trend to several factors, including tax policies that favor the wealthy, weakened labor protections, and the erosion of social safety nets. Stiglitz argues that inequality is not just a moral issue, but also an economic one. High levels of inequality can stifle economic growth by reducing consumer demand and limiting opportunities for large segments of the population. Moreover, inequality undermines social cohesion and political stability, fueling populist movements and eroding trust in democratic institutions. The power of corporations. Stiglitz is particularly critical of the growing power of corporations. He contends that many large corporations have become too influential, shaping policies to serve their interests at the expense of the public good. This corporate dominance has led to market distortions, such as reduced competition, higher prices, and lower wages. The tech industry is a case in point. Stiglitz discusses how companies like Google, Facebook, and Amazon have amassed significant market power, often stifling competition and exploiting consumer data. He calls for stronger antitrust enforcement to break up monopolies and promote a more competitive marketplace. The erosion of democracy. The interplay between economic and political power is a recurring theme in People, Power, and Profits. Stiglitz warns that the concentration of economic power in the hands of a few undermines democratic governance. Wealthy individuals and corporations wield disproportionate influence over political processes, often through campaign contributions and lobbying efforts. This influence has led to policies that favor the elite, such as tax cuts for the wealthy and deregulation of industries. Stiglitz argues that these policies have eroded public trust in government and contributed to the rise of populist and authoritarian movements. To safeguard democracy, he calls for campaign finance reform and measures to increase political participation. Progressive capitalism. In the latter part of the book, Stiglitz outlines his vision for progressive capitalism. This framework seeks to balance the dynamism of markets with the protections and equity provided by government intervention. Stiglitz argues that progressive capitalism can address the shortcomings of both unregulated markets and state-controlled economies. Key components of progressive capitalism include strong social safety nets. Stiglitz advocates for comprehensive social safety nets to protect individuals from economic shocks and ensure a basic standard of living for all. Progressive taxation. He calls for a more progressive tax system with higher rates on wealth and income to reduce inequality and fund public investments. Labor protections. Stiglitz emphasizes the importance of protecting workers' rights, including the right to unionize and access to fair wages and benefits. Environmental sustainability and climate change is a central concern. Stiglitz argues for policies that promote green technologies and reduce carbon emissions. 7. The global perspective. While much of the book focuses on the United States, Stiglitz also addresses global economic challenges. He discusses how globalization, while lifting millions out of poverty, has also contributed to inequality and economic dislocation in developed countries. He critiques international institutions, such as the International Monetary Fund, IMF, and the World Bank, for promoting neoliberal policies that often exacerbate inequality and undermine sovereignty. Stiglitz advocates for a more equitable global economic system, with fairer trade agreements and stronger protections for workers and the environment. He also calls for international cooperation to tackle global challenges, such as climate change and tax evasion. 8. The path forward. Stiglitz concludes with a call to action. He emphasizes that the challenges facing contemporary capitalism are not insurmountable. With the right policies and political will, societies can build more inclusive and sustainable economies. He urges citizens to demand better governance and hold leaders accountable for serving the public interest. Stiglitz is optimistic about the potential for change, pointing to historical examples where societies have successfully reformed their economic systems. He believes that progressive capitalism offers a viable path forward, combining the best elements of markets and government to create a fairer and more prosperous world. People, Power, and Profits is a compelling critique of modern capitalism and a blueprint for reform. Stiglitz's analysis is thorough and thought-provoking, drawing on his extensive experience as an economist and policymaker. The book serves as both a diagnosis of current economic and political maladies and a call to action for building a more equitable and sustainable future. Stiglitz's proposals, while ambitious, are grounded in a pragmatic understanding of the challenges and opportunities facing contemporary societies. By advocating for progressive capitalism, he offers a vision that seeks to harness the strengths of both markets and government to address the pressing issues of inequality, corporate power, and environmental sustainability.